So we've reached the end of the line. This has been quite the undertaking. After the huge success of Batman Arkham City, standards were high for the final entry in the series. After the huge cataclysmic events of Arkham City, how would the world of Gotham City be changed? Well, it's time to find out. We're going to start with the story as we usually do, so skip to this time in the video if you don't want to be spoiled. The opening of the game shows Joker being cremated, but the song Under My Skin is playing, which serves as some foreshadowing. Interestingly, you are the ones who have to press the button to light Joker's body ablaze. Nice way to implement player interactivity. You then cut to 9 months later, crime has fallen off, and Gotham seems to be peaceful for the first time since... ever. You're locked into a first-person view of Officer Owens, who is trying to relax and have a nice, peaceful evening of dinner. But upon investigating a smoking customer, all hell breaks loose. Owens sees the people as monsters. The game suggests you shoot them, but having known better, hold your trigger finger here. It will make this guy a lot less traumatized later on. In the wake of the Joker's death, Scarecrow recruits all the other villains to team up against Batman. They are led by this mysterious Arkham Knight who... to be honest with you, it's pretty obvious who he is the moment he starts talking.
Always defending the weak and the helpless. That's what I like about you. Predictable. And that's why we're gonna win.
Scarecrow is able to take Barbara hostage. Batman is willing to stay behind and sacrifice himself, but he gets an unexpected visitor.
Miss me?
Yeah, of course. Turns out 5 people weren't cured of the Joker blood, so they are slowly becoming Joker. Except Henry Adams. Well, at least so it appears. So now, Batman has to deal with Scarecrow, Arkham Knight, his militia, because of course he has an army, and has to deal with Joker constantly harassing him throughout this story. Just any other night. The other villains, they're filler. They're off doing their own thing, but they don't impact the main plot at all. Alright then, let's go into all the villains represented by this tree of Most Wanted, so they each have their own side quests. Two-Face robs banks, not really sure why. Of all the things you could do if Gotham deserted, you decide to rob banks. Maybe he ended up on the bad side when he flipped his coin. These missions do give you a chance to just go wild and do whatever you want because you can be as loud as you want during these takedowns until the alarm turns off. Of course, Two-Face goes down pretty easy. For a moment, you can feel a little bit of Harvey Dent coming out as you take him back to GCPD.
You said we'd save Gotham.
I'm sorry, Harvey.
Penguin is running gun caches because I guess somebody has to. He's mostly off-screen until the end. He's pretty funny, mostly played for comic relief.
Why are you so soddy useless? Sorry, boss. Oh, that's all right then. Apology accepted. Really? No, not really. He's already got 2 of my caches. If he gets number 3, your family jewels are coming on.
Of course, after defeating him, Batman shows a bit of a dark side when taking him back to GCPD.
Your choice, Cobblepot. GCPD or the morgue.
A side quest breaks out where Batman discovers mutilated bodies strung up on walls, apparently too broken for what he has planned. There's an ominous feeling to investigating these bodies, almost as if they've been changed. Upon finding him, you hear very off-track opera singing, and you meet Professor Pig, a villain I'm largely unfamiliar with. But he turns people, men, women, children, into Dolltrons, which is just horrible. The people who Batman is able to save are clearly traumatized beyond repair.
You're insane. And what are you?
Taking him back to GCPD, he doesn't even seem aware that he did anything wrong.
Sick. Like to see?
You've got problems, Valentine.
Most creepily of all, when you scan the Dollatrons in the cells, they are all terrified. Another side quest involves the missing firefighters. The more you rescue, the more they tell you about their chief and how he's selfless and brave. But Batman quickly deduces the truth. With relative peacetime in Gotham, it became apparent that they might get laid off. So, Chief Underhill made a deal with the devil, so to speak. By cooperating with Firefly, the men would keep their jobs. Batman has to take him in.
What you did was wrong. But you came back tonight. That means something.
Yeah. Guilty conscience. But thanks.
I don't think he deserves to be locked up with the other dangerous criminals. Firefly returns. He's obviously still crazy and is trying to burn down all the fire stations, which ties into the firefighters' mission ever so subtly. He's very easy to track down since it's all about chasing him in the Batmobile. I kind of missed the boss battle against him in Origins. Then again, I guess Batman has gotten better in chasing him. Azrael returns, but he doesn't have a major role in the conflict. He's all about whether or not Batman will choose him as a successor. His real name is Michael Lane. He has been brainwashed by the order to kill Batman and take his place. But what becomes of Azrael is entirely up to you. You can either break the sword,
I thought myself the instrument of God, not the tool of man.
Or you can try to kill Batman. So Azrael's fate comes down to what you prefer. Do you break him free of the Order's programming, or adhere to it? There was one surprise that caused me to jump the first time I played it. There's not much to say about Man-Bat, since he's a tortured man turned into a bat creature. Kurt Langstrom is a tragic figure. He accidentally kills his wife in the process, but it still was pretty stupid.
Mixing his DNA with a vampire bat? That was never going to end well.
Yeah, what he said. Upon rescuing him, he's clearly distraught at what he has done. Maybe it would have been better had he not saved him. Now, what about Hush? Arkham City had such good build-up to him doing something important, but unfortunately, I can't say the payoff was very good. He comes into Wayne Tower and threatens Lucius, but it seems his big plan for taking Bruce Wayne's face was all about walking through a door. It's rather interesting that Batman reveals his identity to Hush to throw him off. I guess this is an early sign that shows that Batman knows that this is the last night of his crime-fighting career. But unfortunately, the Hush payoff is a bit lackluster. There's one singular mission involving Deacon Blackfire, who is a religious zealot. He's going to cut up Jack Ryder, who I didn't really feel very inclined to save this time, to be honest. He's a bit of a jerk.
You know, I heard she's dating Bruce Wayne. So what, his parents were killed? I'm sure he got over it when he saw his bank balance.
Screw you, man. There's not much to say about Blackfire. He's dealt with very easily. Feels like an afterthought of a villain. Deathstroke is back. He takes over as the malicious commander after the Arkham Knight is defeated. He's professional, I'll give him that.
I took payment in advance on this one, and that makes me professionally obliged to finish this.
But, yeah, you don't fight him directly. It's just a tank battle, and Batman defeats him in one hit, so... yeah, not much to say about him, really. Riddler is back, and this time he's captured Catwoman, who serves as one of the many examples of how everyone gets captured in this game. He's designed traps around the Batmobile, of all things. I guess he really wants to show up Batman's car. Not sure why, but that's what he's up to. I don't really know how to qualify these as riddles, but it's a video game. I guess we can be lenient. I do enjoy his breakdowns as you attempt the final Riddler race.
You should have fallen to your death. I calculated the curvature precisely. I've got the equations right here. Stop not dying!
It makes sense that his final exam is actually really easy. He didn't expect Batman to survive his final race. When he's finally defeated, he takes it well.
You need help, Enigma.
I never need help with anything!
Simon Stagg makes an appearance. He's a sleazy businessman who helps Scarecrow set up the Cloudburst, which is basically the big MacGuffin. He's a coward who just wants to see to his own survival. Batman gives Stagg what he deserves. There's not a whole lot to say about him personally. Poison Ivy returns, but she's not allied with Scarecrow as she wasn't interested in joining them. Strangely enough, Batman and Ivy find themselves working together to clear out the toxins. Her sacrifice to save Gotham solidifies her as a hero in her own right.
Nature always wins.
It's a moment that feels earned. I don't think of it as a shipping moment, rather Batman was just trying to comfort her in her final moments. Scarecrow is the main antagonist. He's looking a little worse for wear after the events of Arkham Asylum. What Scarecrow wants to do is destroy Batman's legend. Batman gives people hope, and that's what Scarecrow wants to destroy.
You were ready to abandon your beliefs, everything you stand for. You tell yourself you are not like us. You tell yourself you are something more, something better.
So while Hugo Strange wanted to create a legacy, Scarecrow wants to destroy Batman's.
Came in that room, the hero who failed. That's what I want the world to see.
But Scarecrow can't fight Batman directly. That honor goes to Arkham Knight. He makes for a fantastic evil counterpart to Batman, as he knows exactly what to do with Batman. He knows how he thinks, but it's pretty obvious who he is. The flashbacks with Jason Todd and Panessa Studios exist to serve as foreshadowing.
You really have no idea, do you,
Bruce.
Jason Todd. He's very bitter towards Batman for not saving him from Joker. He thinks Batman's abandoned him. He's just a very broken man.
Jason, we can fix it.
I can fix it!
When Batman beats him, he's reduced to a wreck. Now, as always, we end with the Joker. The Joker makes a return from beyond the grave. Although evidence seems to suggest that it's just a hallucination of Batman's, is it something more? Could it be his spirit? Joker shows things to Batman that Batman doesn't have any memory of, like the shooting of Barbara and his torture of Jason. What I think this represents is Batman's trying to reconcile his guilt of not saving Joker with how monstrous the Joker really was. The Joker infected serves as a twisted reminder of the Joker's legacy, with how many more lives he's ruined from beyond the grave. After the Joker infected are killed, it leaves Harley with nothing. With Scarecrow involved, the game's heavy motif is fear. And what is Batman's greatest fear than becoming what he hates? The Joker. Finally, that leaves us with Batman and his allies. Batman has a complicated relationship with most of his allies. Nightwing only gets involved with the Penguin mission, and Batman refuses to let Robin help, telling him to focus on the Joker infected. Barbara spends most of the game as Scarecrow's hostage, even being put through a fake-out death scene, which just seems a little tacked on to make you think the worst. The reason Barbara spends most of the game as a hostage is because as soon as she's rescued, she completely hacks the malicious machines and shuts them down. Nightwing and Robin seem a little interchangeable at times. They have similar personalities. There's something about how Tim and Barbara have a romantic relationship going on, which is weird because I've always interpreted Barbara and Tim as a big sister, little brother type of relationship. It's just kind of odd that they threw this in there. I do like the moment when Batman tells Nightwing that he's proud of him, as it's a nice moment. With Robin, there's a part where you have to lock him in the cell. Morally, the right thing to do is to get in the cell yourself, but Batman's not wrong to assume that Robin will get himself killed if he goes out there. You can tell him about Barbara's fate here if you wish, but even if you return later and tell him that Barbara's okay, you still can't let him out. But then you have no choice. The highlight for me is Batman and Gordon's relationship. We do see the level of trust they have in one another. It's nearly broken when Batman tells Gordon that Barbara works for him. Gordon lashes out, but he clearly regrets it, and their moment together in the elevator is a nice moment.
We're the same, Bruce. We'd do anything for our family.
With Batman, you get the sense that he knows that this is the end. He can't do this forever, and he knows he's on his last legs. He breaks off his relationship with Catwoman for this reason.
No one will. Gotham needs something more, something worse to defend her. She needs a new myth, a legend more powerful than I can be right now.
It's actually a little sad when he and Catwoman say their goodbyes.
Call if you need me.
I won't.
I know. I just wanted to say it.
The story is good. It relies a little too much of having the Bat family get captured, but I suppose it was the only way to progress the story. Joker is a bit of an unwanted presence at times, but it works within the confines of the plot. We did have to deal with the aftermath of his death at the end of Arkham City, but what about the ending? Well, we'll get into that later. The game looks absolutely beautiful. I'm impressed by the level of detail in the city. It's big. It's not quite open world, more of a big sandbox for you to play in like Super Mario Odyssey. Gotham is once again devoid of civilians, so you have nothing but rioters in your way. The cutscenes look especially beautiful, and they all run in real time. There are 3 inside areas that you have to visit throughout the game, and they all have varied designs. GCPD is your safe haven. It's where you want to go when locking up a villain, or just if you need some time away from all that madness. So peaceful. I like it. The voice acting is top-notch as usual. Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill return as Batman and Joker, which is welcomed. Tara Strong sounds a little too squeaky as Harley. We have Jonathan Banks from Breaking Bad playing Gordon this time, and he sounds a little weary. Maybe that was the intention. One question is, how come there's no females in the militia? It's just a little weird. You're telling me a highly advanced Black Ops organization, and yet not a single member is a female soldier? That seems hard to believe. Well, let's cover the gameplay. Shortly into the game, Batman gets a new suit that upgrades everything. Gliding around the city is made so much easier thanks to the upgrades that allow you to extend your grapnel boost. Of course, getting around the city is also made easier thanks to the Batmobile. The Batmobile drives smoothly and serves nicely as a faster means of getting from point A to point B. But that's not the only extent of the Batmobile we will be seeing, which I'll get into later. What I really do like is the sense of freedom. For the most part, you have the freedom to go after Gotham's Most Wanted in any order that you choose. Combat works the same as it did in previous Arkham games. Enemies will now charge at you, which makes them easier to take out with a quick batarang, and now you have environmental takedowns to mix things up. It's a nice evolution of years of work and refining. Enemies now have medics, who will revive down henchmen. It's very essential that you take them out first. When working with someone, you can do dual takedowns, and switching between characters is easy with the push of a button. Predator takedowns are the same as ever. I noticed that now all takedowns are silent. I guess Batman's been refining his skill. The remote hacking device is now more important than ever, as you can use it to hack drones and zap unsuspecting militiamen. One of my favorite things to do is use the disruptor on medical kits so that when they try to revive an unconscious mook, they get knocked out themselves. I especially love using the disruptor in combination with the voice synthesizer. Tricking a henchman into a booby-trapped weapons crate is a lot of fun. You also have to deal with huge minigunners who the game recommends you take out last because it attracts a lot of attention. There's a third factor into the game, the Batmobile. The Batmobile is more than a transport. It's a tank. It shoots non-lethal rounds, of course, but Batman must have been crazy prepared for this kind of thing to happen. You will learn to love the Batmobile whether you want to or not. I don't mind using the Batmobile as an extension of Batman's abilities, but you're going to have to do a lot of tank battles, and that gets a little tiring, especially when you're trying to defuse the bombs, as this leads to a lot of fighting in enclosed spaces. I especially don't care for the Cobra tanks. This is the weakest part of the game. It's just so repetitive. Finally, let's cover the bosses and endings, so skip to this time in the video if you don't want to be spoiled. Boss battles? What boss battles? For the most part, the majority of the boss battles are against tanks, which I already talked about. There's Albert King, who has a fun boss battle with dual control of Batman and Robin. The fight against Jason Todd is a two-headed sword. It's outsmarting him in the Batmobile, and then the second part where he takes positions to snipe you. You don't fight him directly, but that's not the point. It's about reaching him. It's more of a narrative boss than it is in the sense of gameplay. Now for the ending. Batman is forced to surrender himself to Scarecrow in order to save Robin and Gordon. As Batman gets in the truck, he has one last hallucination. Joker appears. Lots of Jokers, and Batman has to fight Joker. His takedowns are very brutal. He's not holding back in any capacity. Then the game forces you to kill Joker. You don't have a choice.
No denying it this time. You've got the mind of a killer. And that mind is mine. It's over, Bruce. You crossed the blood-red line. And now Scarecrow's going to set me free.
Of course, fittingly enough, the series ends where it began at Arkham Asylum. I guess the reason Scarecrow chose Arkham Asylum is because this is where his last defeat was. Then something irreversible happens. Scarecrow forces Gordon to unmask Batman.
You need to trust me, Jim.
Now.
There's nothing on his face. No shock, no fear, just shell shock. As if years of doing this have left him a battered and broken man. Then after Scarecrow injects Batman with one more dose of fear toxin, Joker takes complete control of Batman's body and we see exactly what would happen if Joker takes control as you slaughter the other villains, and we see what would become of Gotham as Alfred pleads with him to stop.
This may be my finest work yet.
Please listen to me. After all the good you've done for the city, think about what you're doing. So, I'm begging you, Master Bruce. Batman, you have to listen. Think of your family, Bruce. Your father, what would he say if he saw you like this? Please, please stop this rampage.
Oh, Alfred, sweet, loyal Alfred. Master Bruce is gone. But don't you worry, your new master's coming home.
Now, if Scarecrow would let him go, bad things would happen here, and the Joker would have won. But because the Joker doesn't act scared, Scarecrow hits him with another dose of fear toxin. Now you switch to first-person view as Joker looks around, and finally Batman begins hitting back at him. These segments are not particularly fun, but I don't think that was the intention. It's almost as if Rocksteady was making fun of first-person shooter games. Finally, Batman confronts Joker with his worst fear.
You're afraid of being ashes. You're afraid of being forgotten. And you will be forgotten, Joker. Because of me. I am vengeance. I am the night. I am Batman.
It's so satisfying to deliver a beatdown on Joker, and then the two say their final goodbyes.
No, Bats, wait! No, please! No!
Goodbye, Joker.
No, Bruce! Don't leave me! Please! I need you.
I almost pity Joker. Jason Todd appears as Red Hood and frees Batman from Scarecrow. A little rushed, but it works. And Scarecrow is given a fitting ending as he exposed to his own toxins. So with Gordon and Robin safe, Batman returns Scarecrow to the GCPD lockup, and it's time to initiate the Nightfall Protocol.
It needs voice confirmation.
Martha.
Very good, Master Bruce.
Irony. Not lost on me. So with all the crooks captured, Batman takes one last look at his city.
It's done. Gotham is safe.
Thank you, Bruce. For everything.
Goodbye, Jim.
We just saw Bruce Wayne, now known to be the masked vigilante Batman, enter his home, refusing to come.
For the record, no, I don't believe Bruce and Alfred are dead. This was calculated. Gordon is now mayor of Gotham, and Tim and Barbara are getting married, which, to be honest, doesn't feel earned. If it was Dick and Barbara, it would mean something. But, that's just me. But as a couple are about to be robbed, they are visited by a new Batman. Now, what does this mean? Well, it ties into the major theme of the Arkham series, legacy. Let me elaborate. Every villain in the Arkham series has been focused on one thing, their legacy.
It will be my legacy.
It would be my legacy!
Strange, Sharp, Ra's al Ghul all wanted to leave behind a legacy wiping out all of crime, but they didn't care who they had to kill to do it. Scarecrow wanted to erase Batman's legend, but he has ultimately failed as Batman's legend lives on. Joker's fear was of being forgotten, and that's what he's doomed to be.
I'm finished. Done. I'm through.
While Batman, his legacy lives on. That is Batman's ultimate triumph. Before we wrap this up, I'll talk real quick about the DLC, which mostly consists of additional challenge maps, short Arkham episodes, and the Season of Infamy. I really do like the additional Batmobiles. Using the 1989 Batmobile is my favorite. I don't know why at least the Tumbler couldn't be made playable in the main story. That thing practically is a tank. The first mission is Harley Quinn, who breaks into Bloodhaven Prison to rescue Poison Ivy. Harley is an unusual fighter. She doesn't do quiet takedowns. Her takedowns are always loud, but it is mechanically interesting. The second revolves around Red Hood after the game's events. Red Hood is an interesting character to play as because he uses lethal force, so he's still protecting Gotham in his own way. He even apparently kills Black Mask at the end of his chapter. The third is the longest, as it's a prequel set before Arkham Asylum where you finally play as Batgirl. Although one thing that's odd is when exactly does this take place? As Tim is Robin, when shouldn't Dick be Robin at this point in time? That would make way more sense. Maybe Barbara should have just been Batgirl for the whole Arkham series, just a weird continuity error. She's fun to play as she's all about using the remote hacking device to her advantage, showing off how much of a computer whiz she is. The final boss against Joker and Harley is actually a lot of fun as well. The fourth is about Catwoman taking sweet revenge on Riddler. After a sequence that calls back to infiltrating the Tiger Vault, Catwoman has to fight a bunch of Riddler bots. It's best to focus on free flow here instead of doing takedowns. Riddler is mostly played for laughs, and Catwoman pretty much robs him of his fortune. The fifth is a short story where Nightwing stops Penguin from breaking out of GCPD. He actually trolls Penguin.
Oh, and while you're at it, cut the lights.
No!
Not a whole lot to really say about it. The final episode is a flip of a coin, which Robin has to apprehend Two-Face. One of the reoccurring things is that Robin is not Batman, and that's a good and a bad thing. Good because he can actually settle down and get married, and bad because he's not as good as Batman. He only defeats Two-Face with a distraction caused by Oracle, and the fact that the coin lands on Badhead suggests that he will not have such a peaceful life with Barbara. Finally, that leaves us with the Season of Infinity, which adds 4 additional villains for Batman to catch. The first is the Mad Hatter, who has Batman rescue police officers. Once you do that, another fight takes place in the mind. The visuals are amazing. Of course, locking up Mad Hatter leads to this.
Join me, Batman. Be my Alice.
Ew. The second mission I did was Killer Croc. He is horribly mutated because the warden of the airship has experimented on him. The atmosphere is nightmarish and out of a horror film. Nightwing returns for this mission, which is a treat. The fight against Killer Croc is fun as well, but the true villain is the warden. Locking up Croc is a bittersweet feeling. The third mission involves Ra's al Ghul. Going to Elliott Memorial Hospital, Batman finds Ra's hooked up to a life support machine. A civil war rages between the League of Assassins. Batman finds the Lazarus Pit and Nyssa, Talia's sister. Batman is thus given a choice. Let Ra's die and hand over control of the League to Nyssa, who promises that they will shed no more innocent blood, or save Ra's and adhere to Batman's one rule. But doing this will get Nyssa killed and leave Ra's in command of a powerful army. A tough decision. I don't know what the right decision is here. It's all up to you. The final mission involves Mr. Freeze. The militia have captured Nora Freeze, and Batman works with him to save Nora, but she awakens. She's been aware the whole time, and now she doesn't want to be saved because it's turning Victor into a monster. Batman helps Freeze fight off the militia, but the equipment to save Nora is gone.
I don't want you to die, Nora.
Then let me live.
It's a sad ending for Mr. Freeze and Nora, but ultimately it's peaceful at the same time. Despite my misgivings with some of the mechanics, I actually really enjoyed Arkham Knight. Its sense of freedom is amazing, the gameplay is refined to perfection, and overall, it's a really solid game to end the Arkham series on. I mentioned one of the series' big themes is legacy, and with the Batman Arkham games, Rocksteady has created a legacy that they can be proud of. That's all for now. Thanks for watching. I'm signing off. And if you liked the video, please hit that subscribe button and bell for notifications. See you later.